crypto, Bitcoin in 2022. What I think about it, where I think the rest of this year is headed towards, what domino fell before the next domino fell, and what happened. All those layer 1 protocols shot up. Phantom, Avalanche, Solana. I personally believe that Bitcoin has the possibility of one day surpassing $100,000. This is the time for people to research. This is the time for people to build and expand.
How I would invest $1,000 into cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, 80% or $800. Bitcoin is not just one coin. It's a diversified investment in the economic output of each person that uses it to spend and store value. Bitcoin has exposure to everyone that uses it across all sectors and all countries. It also has outsized exposure to the growth end of the market, which is something you can definitely invest in when you're a younger person. Ethereum, 20%. Ethereum is the dominant crypto platform. Owning Ethereum gets you exposure to all of the apps, services, tokens, and also other networks to be built on top and that interact with Ethereum. With $1,000, you don't need to muck around. You can see my portfolio via the link in bio.
O que é o Bitcoin?
Então, mas o criador, o nome do cara?
É o Satoshi Nakamoto.
Cadê esse cara?
Ninguém sabe quem é ele. Ninguém sabe quem é ele.
Ele pode ser um...
Ele pode ser um cara que já morreu. Muita gente acha que é o Ralph Finney, que já morreu, que era um cara que era bem libertário e manjava muito de criptografia. Ou pode ser um grupo de pessoas que, junto com o Ralph Finney, aceitou, porque o Ralph Finney foi o primeiro cara que recebeu bitcoins na história. Então muita gente acha que ele foi o primeiro cara que enviou para ele mesmo. Ele usou um codinome de Satoshi Nakamoto num fórum e supostamente ele mandou para ele mesmo. Esse cara já morreu em 2014.
Por que o cara que cria uma coisa tão absurda dessas fantásticas não vai querer receber o crédito?
Não sei se ele vai querer receber o crédito. É porque a carteira do Satoshi Nakamoto é a única que tem acima de 1 milhão de bitcoins e que nunca foi movida.
Ah, é?
Nunca foi movimentada. Então a gente não sabe quem é. Não sabe se foi o Ralph Finney mesmo. Mas a ideia dele era salvar a humanidade utilizando um novo sistema monetário e não depender mais de crashes econômicos como aconteceu em 2008.
Ethereum will flip Bitcoin, and this is why. Inflation. It's no secret that inflation is a serious issue, but the rising cost of energy is out of control. In fact, over 20 million Americans are struggling to even pay their electricity bills, with Europe's energy crisis being much worse. With the Ethereum merge now set for the middle of September, the second largest blockchain in the world will switch over to proof of stake and reduce its energy usage by 99%. On the flip side, Bitcoin consumes more energy per year than the entire country of Argentina. And with the fall of Bitcoin's price this year, hundreds of Bitcoin mining farms have been forced to sell their crypto and their mining rigs. But the problem is that when Bitcoin loses miners, it loses hash power. And when hash power gets low, the price goes even lower. With energy prices being so high and continuing to rise, mining Bitcoin might not yield any profit, leaving the throne unguarded for Ethereum to take over. Do you think that the flippening is upon us?
Everything is crashing, and here's what you need to know. The stock market, crypto, and even gold were all down today. And this is because of Jerome Powell's latest announcements on inflation. Even though July's inflation numbers came out at an 8.5%, Feds are not convinced that inflation is done. This means they're going to focus on still reducing assets off their balance sheet, selling off those mortgage-backed securities, and most importantly, continuing to raise interest rates. So what's the cause of all of this, and how will this affect us? Well, this relates all the way back to 1913 when the Federal Reserve was created. These wonderful gentlemen believed that this was a classic example of compromise, and even threw around the term decentralized central bank. Now, to save you from all the history lessons, since the day of inception, the US dollar has plummeted in value, only increasing in value once, during the Great Depression when President Roosevelt actually criminalized the possession of gold. Now, we all know the story of the rise and fall of the gold standard, but all of this monetary policy that was created in 1913 is the reason why the dollar is collapsing today. One of the principles that Ray Dalio shows and teaches is disagreeing must be done efficiently. And you can relate this to the rise and fall of world reserve currencies such as the US dollar, where we're currently at the top and approaching the decline against China as we speak. And like it or not, it's because of current politicians and current administrations on a global scale that cannot agree with each other is the reason why we're seeing such high inflation costs currently. Now, we can relate this all the way to the Bank of International Settlements or the World Economic Forum or the World Bank or even the World Health Organization. But here's the reality of where we're at today. Household debt is going to continue to grow. Same thing for corporations, And same thing for the federal government, as we continue to fund wars that we cannot afford. Now, if you read The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio, you would know that over the last 500 years, this is a major cause to where we currently are today. Since the US dollar is the world reserve currency, every single country wants to borrow that dollar as a store of wealth. But the problem with this is as the US lends out more and more money and accrues more and more debt, eventually they start funding things they can't afford, they start defaulting on their debts, and they are forced to print more and more money. We saw this with the Dutch in the 1600s, we saw this with the British pound, now we're seeing this again today with the United States dollar. Now, as I always say, this is not something to be scared of, it's something to be aware of, so you can understand how it affects our economy and how to profit off that. Going back to disagreeing must be done efficiently. The World Economic Forum wants people to own nothing and be happy. Now we see consumers with an all-time high credit, an all-time high debt, more and more people renting, the US government paying farmers not to plant more crops, a global drought that's going to affect the food supply, the war in Ukraine which is causing energy prices to skyrocket, causing supply chain issues, forcing governments to print even more money, and a repeat of process. Now to survive this isn't easy. It involves doing what our educational system can't do, which is becoming financially literate by teaching yourself. This is by learning things like debt is an asset, not a liability, or investing. Follow me.
Thiệt luôn bạn, vui luôn á. Là mình kéo chân này á, là cũng là cái mình đi mình bán Bitcoin các bạn, lúc đó mình thấy Bitcoin lên, cái mình bán vài đồng ra mình đi kéo chân. Thật sự, tại lúc đó là cái đợt mà chiến tranh giữa mà Nga nó phát động chiến tranh với lại Ukraine các bạn, thì lúc đó đồng rút của Nga á nó tan vỡ các bạn, nó lên tới 150 mấy rúp, đổi đến 1 đô. Sau đó Bitcoin họ nó đao xuống từ 40 mấy ngàn, nó đao xuống còn 30 mấy ngàn thôi các bạn. Thì đó mình lụm vô các bạn, mình lụm vô một mớ, xong cái nó lên lại 40 mấy ngàn, thì mình bán ra, sau đó mình bán ra, mình đi kéo chân luôn các bạn, sau cái mình cũng không quan tâm nữa. Thì nói chung là cái chân mình đang kéo ra là cũng là tiền.
Just look what I found. You all know this guy. It's DaVinci 15. He made a video where he said that you should buy Bitcoin for $1 9 years ago. Just look at this.
I suggest you take $1 $1. Buy some Bitcoins, put it in a goddamn wallet.
And what I found right now.
What? I thought Bitcoin is the real deal, but look at this. XRP socks? What the heck? Show some support for Bitcoin.
Hör zu, der Boden von Bitcoin ist nicht 20.000. Die meisten wollen das nicht hören. Doch du musst wissen warum. Der Bitcoin-Preis befindet sich aktuell bei knapp 20.000 Euro. Das Problem? Die meisten schauen nur auf Bitcoin und nicht auf den Aktienmarkt. Der S&P 500 befindet sich in einem Bärenmarkt und ist in der ersten Hälfte 2022 um 21% gefallen. Der durchschnittliche Rückgang seit 1929 sind knapp 37%. Dieser hat im Durchschnitt 344 Tage gedauert. Bedeutet, wenn der Aktienmarkt um weitere 10 bis 16% fällt, was wahrscheinlich ist, wie stark wird Bitcoin und Krypto dann fallen? Vermutlich massiv. Das heißt, erst wenn der Aktienmarkt aus dem Bärenmarkt raus ist, aus der Rezession raus ist, wird sich Bitcoin und Krypto erst erholen.